Serving Amherst and Amherst Township, your hometown television station, Amherst City Cable.
Well, hello, sports fans. Welcome to the Sports Show. I'm your host, Ty House, along with the big homie,
Alex Squires. How you doing, Ty?
Awesome as always. It's the holiday season.
Yep.
My daughter's birthday coming up, Christmas coming up, the lady of my life's birthday's coming up.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, it's just, whew.
Sounds expensive.
Woof, yeah. Bankruptcy. And it's bowl season.
Yes.
Well, they just announced the bowls. I guess we kick off in about maybe a week.
Yeah,
week and a
there's
half.
always, some lag time there.
Yeah, a little recovery time.
Yeah, right. Let the
We got
teams get ready to go.
Awards coming out. We got the Heisman finalists.
Yeah.
And we were announced the Biletnikoff Award the other day.
Yeah.
And the Best Running Back Award. And all that
You
stuff
did a
came out the
really
other
good
day.
job with that word. It's a tough one.
I tried. But first of all, we want to get into the college bowl season before we talk NFL, Major League Baseball, which has been heating up lately.
A lot of moves, yeah.
Let's talk bowls.
Yeah.
Comes to find out, the playoffs ended up. We got the Ohio State Buckeyes, who had a phenomenal game, beat down Mollywop Wisconsin Badgers. I mean,
59-0.
59-0 in the Big Ten championship game.
Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable.
I didn't see the game. I
Me
was
either.
working.
Yep.
But when I came home, I went to watch the Alabama game.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was watching the Alabama game, they flashed the score of the Ohio State game. And I'm like, that game's still on?
Wait a second.
And I'm like, wait a minute. 59-0. I had to change the channel to make sure my TV was correct. And
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
wow. With a third-string quarterback, Carnell Jones, late. What is his name?
Cardell Jones.
Him.
Yeah.
From Cleveland.
Yeah, Glenville.
Glenville.
Yep.
Glenville Pride.
Yeah.
Northeast Ohio's home.
Yeah, and he was a third-string backup, but he was still,
Right.
like a really high recruit, so it's not like he can't play.
Lights out.
Yeah.
Played lights out. Was second string coming into the season, but was after
Right.
Braxton Miller got injured, went down
technically
with the season
third,
injury. He lost out the little battle to Barrett, who led the Buckeyes to almost a perfect season, besides the blemish to Virginia Tech
Right.
earlier in the season with a surprising loss at the Horseshoe. Mm-hmm. They end up in the Sugar Bowl against an SEC superpower, Alabama Crimson Tide.
This is exactly what you wanted to see.
Oh, man, this whole bowl season is
Yeah.
keyed up to
Right.
what I want to talk about,
Yeah.
the Big Ten versus the SEC. My only regards with this game is that it's being played in New Orleans.
Yeah, right. You can't get a full feel.
I mean, even
of
though
what
it's
you
a
wanna see.
neutral feel,
Yeah.
it's New Orleans.
They say it's still inside.
That's SEC country.
Right. I mean, you got to imagine the majority of the crowd there is going to be Alabama fans.
I think they should have moved Alabama and Ohio State. They should have played in the Rose Bowl
Out
in
west.
California.
Yeah.
That would have been neutral. And who we have playing in the Rose Bowl is Oregon versus Florida State.
Right. Now that one doesn't make any sense.
Talk to me.
I mean, if you have your as far as not as far as the game. The game makes sense, but as far as where they're being played at,
Right.
It's played right there. It's going to be all Oregon fans.
All Oregon.
And then, yeah, I mean, frankly, that's going to play into it. But overall, I mean, even if it was neutral site, I would pick Oregon to win this game. But I think they're going to win this game, and the fact that it's out there, and then everybody's just going to come out and, oh yeah, Florida State's horrible. We all knew Florida State was horrible, even though they haven't lost a game in 2 years. But now, because they have,
All
we've
they
been
do
talking.
is win, no
they,
matter what.
Right. And they
Hands
have
up.
been skating by the
And they
skin
stay
of their
there.
teeth. But
Sorry.
but the truth of the matter is that they've still been winning. They still haven't lost in
All
2
they
years.
do.
They're a solid football team, and when they go out west, It's going to be all Oregon fans.
It's like a home game.
And I don't know how well the Florida State contingent travels, but you still have to imagine it's going to be more Florida State or more Oregon.
Right.
Where, Ohio State, their contingency travels very well.
Even though with it, like I was saying, if it was Ohio State and Alabama, both schools have to travel. That's why I say if you move Oregon and Florida State to New Orleans, then both of those schools have to travel. That's neutral site.
Yeah.
Really, basically, what you did was gave Alabama home field advantage in the bowl game, and then you gave Oregon home field advantage.
And that plays into what you've been saying all this time.
They won't come play up here. It's okay, because I got a feeling. I'm just so hip hop and pop music today. That we gonna come out on top in this SEC Big Ten battle of the bowl games this year. Yes, because it's more than Ohio State and Alabama. I'm talking Big Ten. I know ain't no Michigan.
Okay, right,
I'm talking
I get
Big
what you're
Ten,
saying now,
Midwest.
Yeah. Right. You think they're going to beat Alabama?
I'm hoping. I mean, if they play anything like they played Saturday night, 59-0, I'm not putting that on. Carnell played an outstanding game and he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Or I'm not saying that this defense is the best defense in the land. But this coach.
Yeah.
This coach now.
That's something you have to look at.
You see, this coach, even though I don't really like Urban Meyer that much, this coach has proved to me this year that he only had a week to get this young man prepared for a Wisconsin team, which brings in one of the best defense in the nation. And
he scorched him.
59-0, not only Fickle, the defensive coordinator, put together a game plan to shut down Michael Gordon, a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Yeah, tremendous.
This man rushed for like 420-something yards a couple of weeks ago.
I'd say he set the single season, the single game record, at the moment. It was only, to be broken the next week.
He didn't even rush for 60 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. And if they can do that in a week, what you gonna do playing for Alabama and with the month?
A month, yeah, right. I mean, taking into consideration, Alabama's going to have a whole lot of time to figure out Ohio State as well. But this may be a blessing in disguise if Cardale Jones continued to play well,
right?
Because Alabama would have had,
tons of tape.
10 games on tapes of J.T. Barrett, and now they get this Cardale Jones character. Yeah, right.
All they know is he's big.
Yeah,
he's big.
Oh man, he's a big boy. He's a truck back there, and they're gonna have one game. You throw in whatever all the the times he played in garbage time in previous games, whatever. But one full game of tape on him, they're not gonna be able to pull much off of that.
Right.
And as far as the defense is concerned, if they can play even close to that well, it's gonna be an awesome game.
Coming in with the third best bowl of the bowl games, we got Baylor versus Michigan State. This is Baylor, who finished the season 12-1.
Yeah.
They complained that they should be in the top 4 because they beat TCU.
TCU's the one that really should be complaining, if anybody should be complaining.
TCU is taking on Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl.
And they got Ole Miss? That's a slap in the face. I mean, granted, we had talked about how neither of these Big 12 teams deserved it.
Right.
But as far as the committee goes, a week ago, not only was TCU in the top 4, they were number 3.
Right.
And then last week, they come out and they stomped Iowa State.
Who?
Right.
They stomped who?
Iowa State.
That was the problem.
But, Iowa State, they have a great wrestling program. One of the best wrestling programs you'll see. So let's not leave that out. But they still went out there and they beat them. They beat them handily. And they dropped 2 spots. Not only one, they dropped 2 spots.
Right.
So, I mean, I still don't think it's warranted them getting in there. But I can see how the TCU fans would be upset about it.
Okay. It was going to be hard for the committee to put TCU in the top 4 teams and not put Baylor, a team that beat TCU, in. And then that and the fact that the score of that Baylor TCU game was 66-61.
You just can't get over that.
I mean,
no, you're right.
This was in September, October.
Yeah.
College basketball didn't start till almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a basketball game.
60-61? That was a March Madness game in October. So that hurt.
Yeah, it had to have. It really had to.
I mean, neither one of these teams could stop each other, and that hurt. Now, but okay, you didn't make it. You still get an opportunity against Michigan State, which is one of got to be only a few teams that has lost to two of the teams in the top four.
Yeah. I mean, like, they're probably the only team.
They might be the only team.
They might be.
So, I mean, it could be hard to argue the fact that Michigan State, give or take a few possessions, could be one of those top four teams.
I mean, and
so basically, Baylor's getting opportunity to prove their worth against a quality opponent.
Right, and ultimately it worked out because we have the top four teams are all from 4 different conferences. So it's not like, you got one
That's
team.
how you want it every playoff.
And that's what I'm saying, is that's probably what they wanted to do. And you don't like to think that they did it just for the sake of that, but it just worked out that way.
One conference is going to get left out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the Big 12 right now who don't have a conference championship.
Right, exactly, and that's exactly.
Get a conference championship.
Why don't they have one? I mean, that's
because they're losers.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that neither of those teams got in. I wouldn't be surprised to them try to implement one next year if they can happen.
Again, I have to bring up this fact, and I guess it's just. Maybe not against the Big Ten because we've seen it with the Florida State Oregon thing too. But this Cotton Bowl, Baylor versus Michigan State, is basically taking place in Baylor's backyard.
Where is it playing?
Arlington, Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a neutral site.
No, certainly not at all.
Even though it's at Jerry World. I mean, it's not a neutral site.
Oh, it's at Jerry World?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
And then the TCU Ole Miss game. I think they got the Peach Bowl and the Orange Bowl mixed up. I think a better game would have been Ole Miss versus Georgia Tech, and TCU would have been better suited playing off against Mississippi State, a team that was ranked in the top 4 all season long. You want an opportunity to prove yourself? Here it is.
I agree, because those two teams are better than the other two teams.
Mississippi State is head and shoulders above Georgia Tech.
Absolutely.
I don't understand. I could see Georgia Tech and Ole Miss playing.
Yeah, right.
But Mississippi State TCU would have been a better matchup.
Yeah,
just a little criticism for the committee. Maybe they'll put me and Alex on the committee next year.
Yeah.
We get some additional funding.
Me, you, Condoleezza.
We'll kick her off. All right, and then we got Wisconsin and Auburn, Big Ten SEC matchup. We got Minnesota and Missouri in the Citrus Bowl.
Yep.
We got what is the other one? What was the other one? Really quick. Iowa, Tennessee.
What do you like about that one?
In the Texas Slayer Bowl. It's SEC Big Ten.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's
it.
true.
I mean, this is our opportunity.
Does Tennessee count?
Listen,
does Tennessee actually count as SEC though?
Yes.
Okay.
They do.
Okay.
When they had Peyton Manning, they were SEC. So they SEC now. We got to wrap this up and take a little break. We come back. We're going to talk a little Major League Baseball, which is, in the middle of the winter meetings. And we're going to get into the power rankings for the NBA and the NFL. We'll be right back here watching the Sports Show.
Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Listen, your storyline makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Welcome back to the Sports Show, where we're going to get into a little Major League Baseball with the winter meetings and everything kicking off, and you being so knowledgeable about the sports of balls and sticks. Why don't you tell us what's going on here in the Major League Baseball world?
Well, we have plenty going on. It's been an incredibly active winter We have seen several moves. We've seen trades. We've seen big signings, big free agent moves. We've seen 2 high-profile Cubans signed. We've seen a lot of things go down.
The Indians made a power move.
Yeah, that's
Was something they definitely needed.
they needed
some power.
but just whenever you make a trade with Oakland, you just can't know. Because, yeah, he worked for them. But
right.
they do things differently than every other team.
Right.
So, I mean, and he was down the stretch last year, he was bad.
I mean,
Brandon Moss really fell off to the stretch. I think for the last 2 months, he hit like 160 or something, and then he went in and he had hip surgery also. So, I mean, it's going to be a total dart throw to find out whether or not Brandon Moss.
played in a career high 147 games.
Yeah, that too.
With the A's last year.
And in his year prior, his 2000, what would that be, 2012, 13, whatever, the year before last year, he was He was very productive. He hit 20 home runs. He didn't hit for a great average, and that's not something he's going to do. He's going to hit home runs, and that's what they brought him in here to do.
Will he hit home runs in this ballpark?
He should. I mean, Oakland's not exactly an easy place to hit home runs, and he should hit home runs, but we could see him. He could be exactly what we want, and he could also be another Mark Reynolds.
How do you think acquiring Moss will affect Nick Swisher?
Well, it makes Nick Swisher even more so what he already was, and that's expendable. I mean, he's expendable anyway, especially considering that contract that he has, and that is going to be I mean, Nick Swisher, he's not going to be a starter on this team, and he's making just more money than anybody else.
Right.
So, I mean, ideally, the Indians would love to flip him.
And maybe Dave Murphy.
Yeah, right. But with that contract, the 2 knees, and just how bad he was last year, I mean, he's a disaster for them. Like, he is an absolute disaster, and there's really not much that they can do with him.
Right.
Like, what could they possibly do with him? They can't cut him. Nobody wants him to trade him. Like, what are you going to do with him?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just going to have to play him.
Gonna have to play him.
Right. And hope that he can
Suffer
figure
through
something
it.
out,
Right.
But it's not likely because the guy just he's fallen off.
I feel, I mean, even if they can hold on to one of those players and somehow mix it up, I feel this move may be one of the moves because they got pitching. They just they have a Cy Young.
Yeah,
arm in there, and the bullpen is, shabbier. It's
the bullpen all the way back, from the long relief back to your closers, and Cody Allen, he was sensational last year. The starters are young. They have a lot of young starters, but
that's good. That's a good thing.
But that's
though.
the thing is that they're real young and they all have electric stuff. But it's just going to be them putting it together for a full season, being consistent week in and week out. But as far as the lineup goes, it's just they were definitely missing a big bat. And it remains to be seen how big a bat Brandon Moss is going to be.
He seems like he's going to be pretty excited. He said he loved the fans in Oakland, but he hated the Coliseum.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he likes progressive.
On paper, it's a perfect fit.
We'll see. The Oakland A's are in the news again, trading away Jeff Samardzija from Chicago, who they received in a trade from Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, they traded.
Now they traded him back to the Chicago White Sox.
Right. They traded a really, really, really promising young shortstop last year, Addison Russell. They traded him to the Cubs for Samardzija for their what they thought was going to be their stretch run to a World Series. Right. In turn, they traded their best bat and their best arm in the outfield, and then everything fell apart after that. So it's kind of weird. I mean, initially when they made that trade, when they traded Russell for Samardzija and Hamill, a lot of people thought that Hamill was the guy that they were going to try to flip out of that and try to get something back, that offensively that they could put back into the lineup and try to make up for the loss of Cespedes a little bit. But they didn't do that. And they still have both. Hamill might actually be a free agent right now. That may have been the last year of his contract. If it wasn't the last year of contract, they only have one more year left. Anyway, Samardzija, I believe, had 1 year left, or he might have had 2 years left in his contract, so he's still not making very much money. He's going to try to. It's funny because Samar he said a few times that what he's trying to do is pitch his way out of Chicago.
Right.
And he did as good as he could to do it because he was awesome. You know, he's been a frontline starter ever since he's been in the league, but. It's how it goes to Oakland.
Say from one side to the other side.
Right, so he goes to the south side now, and I mean they're not nearly as much of a mess as the Cubs have been year in and year out.
Right.
But the Chicago White Sox, you know, they have Abreu, they have Sale, you know, they have some high profile players. Hopefully they can fill it with some role players, and they could actually be a good team.
Didn't the Cubs just acquire a new manager?
Yeah, Joe Maddon, my guy.
Interesting. It's been an interesting offseason so far. But the guy that everybody is waiting on to make a decision this offseason seems to be the guy in Boston, Lester.
Lester, yeah. I mean, he's all signs point to him re-signing with Boston, which is what everyone said back when they traded him to the A's, is that, they're going to basically loan him to the A's, and they're going to re-sign him. I mean, Boston they'd be foolish not to re-sign him. The guy was awesome.
Right.
He was awesome last year. He loves Boston. The fans love him. It just makes sense. Great, he's going to want a lot of money.
We'll see, because it's a lot of teams after him.
Yeah.
He has like free cheese line.
Free cheese?
Soup line, soup kitchen
Soup
line.
kitchen, yeah, okay, yeah. Split pea soup on Wednesdays.
Free cheese line. He was like, free cheese. He got one of those lines.
Right. Okay, now I get what you're saying.
Outside his door,
Yeah, now I understand.
Well, what you gonna do?
Oh, he has plenty of suitors, that's for sure, and they're all going to try to woo him, but he loves Boston. He's said that, you know, back before, you know, a contract was even an issue for him, you know. He's always been firm that he loves being in Boston. So, I mean, as long as the money is comparable,
Right.
I don't see why he wouldn't stay there.
All right.
Especially with all the other talent they brought in. Like, this team looks like they're going to be a World Series team, so why wouldn't he want to be a part of that?
Right. It's a lot going on. I mean, because, you know, the league is getting younger. You got Kansas City upstarts who were in the World Series this year. They're not going anywhere.
They shouldn't, because that team was young, and the way Kansas City won, it wasn't fluky. Like, it wasn't like they had these crazy games and, you know, all these. No, the way they won games a weird, scrappy way that not too many teams not only can do, but not a lot of teams want to do.
Right.
And they clearly wanted to win that way, so they're going to, you know, do their best to do the same thing next year.
Okay, let's get off the Major League Baseball.
Another year for Giordano Ventura too.
See, I didn't even get a chance to mention my Tigers. Ain't much going on.
Yeah, not much. Yeah, there's not much to say.
Yeah, this was our year and we didn't get it done.
No, I don't think so. What about Scherzer? Is he? What's his
He's
deal?
sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna stick around.
What an idiot he is.
Oh,
Why did he not just take that money?
Let's talk about Johnny Manziel.
Me and Johnny Manziel?
He is the starter here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
What week is this? 15?
I don't know.
I think this is week 15.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Week 15, this guy gets a chance to start.
Who knew?
For the Cleveland Browns.
Who knew?
In a home game against the cross-state Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Browns Jr.
It's a big spot. Browns Jr.
I mean, they're the same team. They just got stripes on their helmet.
It's a big spot for the kid. It really is. Luckily, he's going to get to play in the comfort of First Energy Stadium.
Crowd gonna be nuts.
Oh man, they're gonna be nuts. They're gonna be so loud, and you have to imagine he's gonna feed off of that.
Can he energize this team?
Big news for the Bengals today. They just put Vontaze Burfict, their Pro Bowl linebacker, on IR, so they're not gonna have him. That defense, you saw what Le'Veon Bell did to that defense last week. You know, to the tune of 235 yards and 3 touchdowns. They can't stop the run to save their lives. You know, they're actually a really, really hard team to pass on, but you can run all over them, and that's
Johnny's big suit.
And that's
what
the
he do.
thing. Well, and that's going to be a large part of the game plan. You know, they're going to be predicated on the run in order to make Johnny feel more comfortable and open up the the back end of that defense a little bit.
So I'm excited, just as excited as the whole county is here in Cleveland. Well, the whole state, the whole
state,
the whole Midwest is abuzz. We've been waiting on Johnny for a few minutes.
The nation.
Yeah, all eyes on you, Johnny.
Even though Cam Newton was in a car accident today, and
I was gonna mention that.
that
but
seemed to be a bigger deal than Johnny starting.
he done flipped the truck. He flipped the truck that looked like it wasn't even supposed to be flipped. And did you see the car that he hit? He hit a little car.
Really?
Flipped the truck.
That's probably what happened. He probably rolled up on it and flipped.
I hope he's all right.
He had what did I hear? Trans something.
I don't like the word trans and Cam Newton together. I done heard rumors. I don't like the trans and him.
He's a woman?
We don't want to talk about that on the air. We will get sued. But yeah, I mean,
It was a back injury, is what it was.
so he's
he all accounts are that
back injuries are
but all accounts are that
serious.
he's okay. I mean, apparently, there's pictures of him, on the hospital bed smiling, and he's in good spirits or whatever. But it might be Derek Anderson time. Derek Anderson, think about it. Derek Anderson
is still in the league.
He's Cam Newton's backup, and think about all this season. What has everyone been saying about Brian Hoyer the whole time? Oh, he's Derek Anderson. He's Derek Anderson. I've seen this story before. I've seen a backup come in and play well, and he turned out to be garbage. And what do we get to see potentially in 2 weeks? Is Johnny Manziel versus Derek Anderson.
Power rankings real quick in the NFL. Johnny Manziel, call Cam Newton and tell him to stop stealing your shine. Power rankings, we got the Packers on top of the NFL power rankings as of today. The best team in the NFL are the Green Bay Packers.
Can't argue.
Followed by the New England Patriots, who lost to the Packers last Thursday night, by the way. Was it last Thursday night?
It wasn't Thursday. It was Sunday night.
Yeah, last Sunday night. Then we got the Broncos coming in at number 3, 9-3. The Seahawks.
They look like they're on a mission. They really do. And Peyton Manning doesn't really know what he's doing. Sea Heifers?
I don't like the Sea Heifers right now because they got the same record as my Detroit Lions. They are 4th, 9-4. The Colts, who don't play no defense,
Hardly.
are 9-5. The Cardinals, 10-3, are 6. Eagles, 7, 9-4. Another team I think should be a little bit ranked further down. 8 is the Cowboys, 9 is the Lions, 9-4. 10 is the Steelers, 11 is the Chiefs. 12 Bengals. I'm trying to find the Browns. Chargers is 13. Ravens 14. Dolphins 15. Ravens 16 is the Texans. 17 is the Bills. Where is the Browns? 18 is the Rams. 19 is the 49ers, who are just going down the drain, not going to make the playoffs. And at 20, the Cleveland Browns.
Really? I wonder if that would change at all with the quarterback change.
Oakland won.
Yeah, they beat
the 49ers.
San Francisco's a mess.
Got to go. Come back next week. We'll talk a little bit more about the NBA.
Yep.
Since this did start off as in the paint. Until next time, that's
Alex Squires.
And I'm the host or something. Ty House. Peace.
Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.